Hello, everybody. This is our January 2025 energy forecast. So this is a channeled kind of energetic read of what's coming in January collectively for everybody on a very kind of broad sense versus individualized. So there were three different categories, three different things that really came up, but they do kind of all have a similar theme, if you ask me. The first thing was just a lot of yellow energy, and what the yellow is representing, the yellow is representing illumination. It is shedding light on things that need light shone on it. And so there's a couple different things in particular that are really coming up. One is kind of the illumination and the light being shed on our connection to nature or lack thereof. You know, how we are not connecting to nature. And I think for a lot of us, it can be really challenging in the colder months to stay and to maintain that connection. But that connection to nature is heightening, and the awareness and the need for it. It's almost like the further we get away from it, the more detached we feel, and it's going to continue to make us feel less and less grounded, less and less connected to our actual physical reality, right? It's like we're very connected into this 3D matrix system, which is more of just this energetic system that is comprised of a lot of our societal structures and, you know, the patriarchy and like those ideas and concepts and just the ways that we operate societally and the expectations placed on us. You know, we're very plugged into that, and it's almost like we're trying to detach from that to some extent and come back to, you know, nature and who we truly are, and that path to who we are and that path to what truly matters is by reconnecting to nature. And the more we are disconnected from nature, we are not grounded, and we are plugged into kind of the BS, right? This very consumerism geared society. Go and get things, you know, escape, you know, your feelings and emotions and your problems and go shopping and, you know, go on social media to try and get likes. Like, it's all this very superficial crap that we're truly just escaping what truly matters, which is going deep within, finding our own true joy, you know, bringing back the things that matter, and reconnecting to nature and caring about the planet and all of those things. And so essentially, there's this light being shown on these patterns that we have had for a long time of avoidance and just seeking that kind of quick high, that the temporary joy moment that is as fleeting as it is, you know, as easy as it is to go get through, you know, posting a pretty picture on social media or going and buying a new outfit or going and spending $8 on your coffee because it makes you feel really good in the moment. But it's not sustainable, and it's not penetrating. It's staying on the surface level of what we need, and it's been working for to some extent, but it's not working anymore. And that's kind of this this illumination is kind of coming to this point of like that recognition that that way of being just isn't working anymore, that we can't keep operating from this shallow mindset and perspective. And I don't mean shallow in that traditional way. I just mean as far as the depth that we're going internally and with others, and, you know, truly what matters and things like that. It can be hard, and I get that, right? It can be hard to care about the deep things because it can be very overwhelming, and it can create some fear, and it can be easier to just, you know, go rot your brain in front of the TV watching some dumb reality show, right? Like, I get it. We need to do it sometimes, but it's going to start manifesting in physical symptoms and illness. The more we continue down this road of being very detached from nature and the true reality, and the more we stay kind of sucked up into this matrix facade, we're going to start getting ill, different types of illnesses. We just cannot, it cannot be sustained anymore. So there is going to be a light shone on these patterns, you're going to start to notice that those things that you went for your quick fix are not doing it anymore. These coping strategies that are not healthy, maybe they helped you get out of a more toxic coping mechanism, but it's not meant to be the full thing, right? Like, we're here to grow and evolve, and we need more. You're gonna find that we're gonna start needing to seek more. We're gonna find ourselves apathetic. The things that brought us joy don't bring us joy anymore. The things that got us excited and want to wake up in the morning and do our day aren't gonna satisfy anymore. And the more that we avoid that true reality, that harsh reality that something needs to change, it's gonna start manifesting in physical illness. So essentially, it's time to truly replenish ourselves. We cannot avoid it any longer. And so what does that mean? It means, one, self-care, and not self-care in the I need a spa day type of way, which that might be part of it. Like, there's nothing wrong with a spa day being some self-care, but self-care in the way of what fills your cup. What actions or hobbies or what things do you do in your can you do in your day-to-day or a few times a week that truly fill your cup? That bring you, when you feel overwhelmed and drained and you don't have the capacity to even have a conversation with a friend, right? When you're in that state, what fills your cup? What is that thing? And it can't be just like something like sleep, because we all need sleep. That's not self-care. That's like part of the human condition and our overall health. It's, for a lot of us, it can be really going out in nature. We need to go out in nature, and we need to feel the sun touching our skin. It's, what are those things for you? Is it having, 20 minutes in the morning to yourself before the kids get up, drinking your coffee or your tea? Is it maybe some time before bed? Is it stargazing at night? Is it going for a walk out in nature? Is it making snow angels in the snow, and it, makes you, it revitalizes you, it makes you feel something again? What self-care do you need, and not what you think other people, tell you self-care is. So what truly fills your cup? And so I would suggest make that a homework assignment, because a lot of us don't know what fills our cup. I know for myself, I had to really think on this, and I had to really intentionally implement things into my week and my month and my days to maintain that feeling and that maintain my cup, because everything else goes out the window if you're not maintaining your cup. So find your own self-care, journal about it, try and figure out what it truly is for you, what recharges your battery. Accountability. This one's a big one, and it sucks, and nobody wants to face it. But at the end of the day, to shed light on the things that are not working, that are basic and shallow and just not deep enough. You're deep. We're all deep. We all have the ability to go deep within ourselves. And so it's taking that accountability and recognizing where you're phoning it in, where you're just scraping by, where, you could go deeper, what coping mechanisms and strategies are you relying on to get you through the day? And how can you, instead of using those kind of little things that don't do anything on a deep level, but using those to get you by, something like maybe having a drink at the end of the day, which I'm not, against having a drink, but if that is your coping strategy, or going on social media too much, watching too much TV, maybe being too busy or working out too much, right? Those can be coping strategies as well. And even when they're more positive than something like drugs or addiction or things like that, which are also coping strategies, we're essentially trying to move out of needing coping strategies, right? So we need to basically take accountability for, what are you avoiding? What are you trying to escape? What are you trying not to face? And what toxic habits or strategies or unhealthy coping mechanisms are you utilizing to get through the day, to get through the week? Are you working for the weekend, right? If you are, then that's a problem. And so we have to take accountability for the role that we played in getting here, right? If you have a shit job, that's on you, right? If your boss is a jerk and you're still there and you're busting your butt and you're upset that you're not appreciated, that's on you. If you're in a relationship that isn't fulfilling and isn't providing you what you need it to provide, it's, not a two-way street, it's not feeling good, but you're staying, that's on you. If your friendships are one-sided or draining, or your family members are, but you're still entertaining those relationships, that's on you, right? If you're unhappy, if you don't have hobbies and you don't know, what you want out of life, right? That's on you. So we need to take accountability, not just in the coping strategies, but also, what are we doing that's not satisfying us? So it's about finding out what really matters for you. And that does require going deep, and that's part of this. Let's take this gift that the universe is giving us of this energy of January and this illumination energy that's being given to us on a silver platter and use it. It's like this natural flashlight that we all have that's going to assist us to go deep and to find out for ourselves what truly matters. It's like the vibe of looking at yourself in the mirror and just allowing the quiet, just being in silence and quiet and see what comes in. Most of us don't want to sit there quiet with ourselves. Never mind like looking in the mirror, truly looking at ourselves right into our eyes and seeing some of that dissatisfaction or that unhappiness or guilt or shame or whatever is in there. Right? Whatever it is that we're escaping and trying to avoid. So it's self-reflection in a lot of ways is what this illumination kind of energy is really helping us with. Okay. The next thing is I have some green energy coming in, which is super healing. But it specifically showed me feet. Feet. Not in a creepy, gross, like fetishy way, but, which, if that's your thing, that's, I don't want to say it's gross. I just don't like feet. Feet are like a weird phobia that I have. Although feet for me is also, it's very interesting that feet is coming up. And yes, it's very connected to grounding energy, which does bring us back to what I was saying with this illumination vibe of connecting back to nature and maintaining a grounded energy. And so we're doing healing around our feet and around grounding. And what I do find very interesting, so just a little personal aside, I go to acupuncture every week. And one of my big issues is insomnia. And my acupuncturist has tried every sleep point for me. And what we discovered is the sleep point that helps me is the one on the bottom of my feet that helps to ground. So I thought that was really interesting. So if you go to acupuncture, maybe ask your acupuncturist for that grounding point in your feet if this resonates for you. I'm sure you can probably also, if you looked up like acupressure points, I'm sure you can find that same point and you can just do like a pressure point there for that. But yeah, so it's our feet and it's grounding and it's root chakra energy. So there's, what is our root chakra? It's, in a lot of ways, it's our foundations. It's our basic foundations that everything else in our lives are built on. And so crappy foundations, outdated foundations, unstable foundations, a lack of foundations built in old energies or trauma or childhood BS, right? That is not a place to build all of this other stuff on. It's not a good place to figure out what truly matters and layer that on top of. It's almost like, let's start fresh, right? Like, let's clear out the old crap that are part of our foundations and start new. So we really have to take a look at what we're holding on to and what we need to let go of. And what we truly want in our foundations, what truly matters to us. And that might require taking a look at how some of the ways that you have built the structure of your life around might mirror aspects of your childhood that are not great, that don't feel good, that, if you think about, okay, I do this way because maybe that's how it was done when I was a kid. That's how my parents did it, or my relatives, or that's just the way things were back in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, whatever era that you're in. But you just automatically have done it that way. That's so common. That's how many of us operate. But does that serve you in what truly matters? So again, we're still in this big introspective phase and this healing phase. And part of the healing, especially with the root chakra, it's a lot of inner child work, and it's clearing out the old stuff. If you have this crumbling foundation that your life right now is built on, and you're ready to overhaul your life, you're ready to step into something new, you're ready to really be in alignment and fulfill your purpose and find joy, right? But everything, you're changing things up here, you're changing the studs of the house, the siding, the windows, the roof, but the foundation is still crumbling, or the foundation is built in lower energy, or traumatic events, or shadow aspects, or limitation, or lack of belief in what you can have, right? If we're going on this metaphor of foundations and houses, and you have maybe this foundation that's small and not well built. It's built in a place of insecurity. And so you have maybe the small house built on it, and, it's not so great, but it's good enough. And it has served you. And, but there's just this feeling of like, yeah, I'm never going to really have a bigger house. I'm not good enough to paint it and make it vibrant. It's drafty and it doesn't feel good, but it's good enough, right? But it's not good enough. And it was built in a place of that lack of self-worth, or that lack of belief that you can have more, or the lack of even knowing what you want to build on that foundation. So you built something because something is better than nothing. Or you built what your parents built because that was what was programmed into you, is I'm not gonna get more. I'm not gonna have more than my parents, right? I'm doomed to be here and play out that same poverty lifestyle, or what have you, right? It's so many avenues that can go down. But we're focusing on grounding our foundations and our root chakra. So think about what you want to build your life on, right? What a great time, beginning of the year, January, the beginning of 2025, to think about the foundations that you want to build. Because then think, come spring, when you're planting the seeds, you have a fresh new foundation to plant everything into, to manifest, to create what you truly, truly desire. So it's what within your foundations do you want to get rid of? What makes you feel fearful? What makes you feel unsafe? Where are you lacking? Where's your security, right? Do we need a different job? Are our relationships not emotionally or physically safe? There's a lot of different areas. So I really implore you to just dive really deep into your root chakra and just feel into what makes you feel solid. Right? That's I feel like the best way that, at least it's coming to me, is when you're contemplating the things in your life, what's going to make you feel firm and solid? You want to plant your feet on the ground because you feel confident and safe and secure to do so. All right. One last thing. Let me flip the pages of my notes. Ooh, okay. Last thing, now we're bringing in blue energy, and this is going straight to our throat chakra. And so it's about communication, but it's not about external communication. It's all about communication with yourself. So if you can, notice the theme here with all of these things for January, it is all self-reflection. It's all kind of going inwards. So it's working on developing a good relationship with yourself. And that brings us into many different areas, right? It's not just working on this communication and this relationship with your higher self, right? That's the highest version of your potential. That's the highest version of you. It's all, higher vibrational than we are in this third dimension. So it's all positive and good, right? But going inward and creating this kind of communication, this open forum with yourself, means all of the aspects of yourself. And that's giving me wicked chills. That means your inner child, which is, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? There are beautiful aspects of our inner child that can help us heal. And then there are aspects of our inner child that need healing, and they need to feel seen and safe and loved, and then there's maybe a teenage version of you, and so there's all these aspects, there's all these fractals, there's all these shadow components of you. So it is really time to start that communication, open the narrative, listen to the stories that your shadow wants to share with you. Get to know your shadow. Your shadow is not scary, but your shadow is creating and feeding lower vibrational energy that doesn't serve you, and creating these self-limiting beliefs and participating in some of the programming that is keeping you limited, that's keeping you from getting the new job, that's keeping you from finding the love of your life or your best friend, or starting that business or creating your family, whatever it is. You got to get to know your shadow. So open the conversation. It doesn't all have to even be about healing. Right now, it's get to know yourself, get to know all of it, right? If you're that person that only sees the bad in yourself, maybe you're great. Maybe you're great with the shadow work. You know all of your shadow bits. You know your envy. You know your guilt and your shame. But maybe you have a hard time seeing the positive things about yourself. We need a full, well-rounded view of ourselves. We need to start truly seeing ourselves from all of the different angles. And so getting to know your strengths and what you are really good at and what you do bring to the table in relationships or with the world or, with yourself. And so it's getting to know who you are. So again, we're going so deeply inwards. We're getting to know ourselves on such a deep level. And then getting to know the voices that are taking up real estate in our own mind. And what I mean by that is, there's always the voices that are saying, you're not good enough, or don't try and, apply for that job. You're never going to get it. Or, you're not pretty enough to get the guy, or, you gotta lose weight in order to find a good relationship or be worthy of love or whatever. You're not good enough to connect with your higher self, right? You have to be gifted or, grow up in some spiritual family or become a shaman or all those things that are well, I have to do this in order to. No, all of those voices in your head that are not serving you. I mean, in some ways they are serving you because they're highlighting where there are some issues. But some of those voices are also not yours. And so as much as, kind of analyzing and getting to know those voices can be helpful, because some of those voices are the voices of your shadow. Some of those voices are not yours. They might be your mom's voice, or your dad's voice, or an ex-partner's voice, or a friend that is no longer your friend's voice, right? Or that's no longer your friend that maybe said something not so nice to you at one point in time, right? We got to clear out that crap. There's no room in our systems anymore for anything that is not yours, for anyone else's voices, right? We need to get to know ours, and part of that is knowing what is not ours and getting rid of it. So start to realize, okay, wow, that's actually the voice of my ex-boyfriend who was a total narcissist and made me feel like crap about myself. I got to get rid of that. Or that's the voice of my mom when I was a kid and ooh, no, that doesn't feel good. And, you can pull cords with them. You can write a cord cutting letter. You can literally visualize, with that voice as whatever you want to visualize it as. It can be an energy form. It can be a version of them. It can be a cord, and literally pull it right out of your throat chakra or out of your mind and just get rid of it. Or ask your higher self, say, higher self, this voice that's hanging out in my head and telling me all these things that's from my mom or my dad or whoever, I need you to help me in getting rid of it. And then comes the hard part, when it does start to come in, once you have the awareness, then the work it's on you on a very consistent and regular basis to recognize when that voice is coming up and choose not to listen to it. Say, nope, that is not my voice. I'm choosing not to listen to you right now. And what happens is the less you feed the voice, the quieter it gets. And then it gets quieter and quieter and quieter. And what you do is not only do you not acknowledge or not feed the voice, right? If the voice is saying, nope, don't do that, it's scary, change is bad, right? That's a common one. Don't do that new scary thing. Recognize that that's not yours. I'm not going to pay that any energy or attention. And instead, then you're going to flip it with an affirmation of change is really good for me. Change is where I thrive. I feel great when change is occurring in my life, because change is happening for my highest good, right? Flip it, create some affirmations around it. Take those affirmations, write them on a Post-it note, put that Post-it note on your mirror, repeat it to yourself every day, in addition to when those voices come up and we flip it, right? So it's honing in on the communication we are having with ourselves and clearing out what's not ours. Okay. And then invite your higher self in. That's kind of the final component of this is continue to invite your higher self in. We're on a journey to get to know ourselves, and January is such a beautiful kickstart. So to summarize, we have this illumination light that's shedding some light on our bad or unhealthy coping strategies, or where we're escaping and what we're escaping from, and just these very surface level habits that don't serve us, right? Our shopping addiction as a good example. And let's come back to nature. Let's really start figuring out what truly matters. And if you start to notice that you're starting to find yourself in getting sicker, that's a red flag. That's telling you that you're in need of grounding and connection to nature and really coming back to what truly matters. If the world ended tomorrow, if the apocalypse happened, right? The true apocalypse in whatever form you want it to be, and we didn't have those simple pleasures, right? We didn't have Facebook to scroll on, or Instagram to scroll on, or TikTok to scroll through, and we didn't have our trash TV, and we didn't have online shopping, or a mall, or, all of those things, or restaurants that we can go drop $500 at. What would be your biggest priorities? What would matter the most? And I know for me, it would be my family, my kids, my space, right? My personal space, my yard, my home, the energy within it, how good it feels, healthy food that we can have at home. Those are the things that come to mind just in this moment. That is what matters to me so much. And so what matters, right? Taking accountability and taking that look in the mirror, being really quiet with yourself. And then we come right into our green energy, our healing with our feet, and our grounding and our root chakra. So dismantling, and it's like you're taking like a wrecking ball to the old gross foundations of our lives that aren't working. Tear that shit down and let's rebuild it into something stable and sustainable and healthy, and that fully supports your goals and your vision for your life. And then we're coming in to this blue energy with this communication to self and getting to know those voices, getting to know yourself, and working on that connection to yourself and the way that we speak to ourselves, and getting to see ourselves from these different angles. So I hope that this provides you some insight and some clarity and some direction for what's coming for you in January, how you can navigate it, and how you can recognize when maybe you're avoiding it a little bit too much, which would be getting sick and entertaining those not so great voices in your head. So I hope that this helps you, and we'll see you again in February.